Voor de uitzending sprak ik met dokter Hussam Zomlot in Ramallah. Hij is de woordvoerder van Fatah, de niet-religieuze Palestijnse organisatie op de westoever van de Jordaan. Ik confronteerde hem eerst met de Israëlische uitspraak dat Hamas raketten afschiet vanuit scholen.
That's absolutely and utterly not true, and there is no evidence of that. And the United Nations came out with a report about the second UN school that was bombarded by Israel yesterday, killing more than 10 civilians. And the UN said that we have done our thorough investigation around the school, and we found no evidence whatsoever of any firing or any combat situation around the school. Israel is lying, and Israel continues to be lying. This is not the first time Israel targets a UN school, and this is not the first time that Israel does on purpose target civilians. In my opinion, the founding military doctrine of Israel is whenever there is confrontation, target as many civilians as possible, wreak havoc in the society and the infrastructure, impoverish the situation, make sure that the people will not have electricity or water. So you put pressure by targeting civilians on the political and resistance leadership of the Palestinians. This has been going on for many, many years and decades. This is what made Israel. And this is not only in Palestine, by the way. This also has happened in Lebanon. Wherever there's an Israeli aggression, there is always a direct hit and a direct targeting of civilians. And this brings me to my main point. If the international community and the international system and the United Nations will not really hold Israel accountable today, I think our system will be dented. And you know what? I'll go as far as saying maybe the next move of Israel will be bombing the UN headquarters in New York or in Geneva or even The Hague, the court in The Hague, if we don't stop Israel from ransacking international law and ransacking the universal values and basic war laws and basic human rights laws and basic humanity, actually. Yeah. Because targeting all these children, slaughtering hundreds of families, wiping out entire neighborhoods, obliterating a city like Gaza that has world heritage and one of the most ancient cities is a war crime, my friend.
Yeah, but you can't be serious about Israel wanting to bomb the UN building in New York, of course.
The people of Gaza have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. The only place they could go in this very small enclave, there is no open areas in Gaza. I am from Gaza. I know these families. I know these faces. There is no areas but civilian. All of Gaza is civilian areas. Israel has left nothing, and it has been besieging this area for 7 years. Nothing is allowed from the air, from the sea, from the land. And when people started trying to find alternatives for the siege, digging tunnels, trying to bring milk and basic commodities to their babies and to their families, it became an Israeli security issue. When it first started as an act of dignity by the Palestinians, then it went commercial, the tunnels, and then Hamas used it for military purposes, primarily to stand up for the invading forces. But I said bombing the UN headquarters by Israel symbolically to tell you that if the only place the people of Gaza can escape to is the UN, and if the UN informs Israel 17 times, go back to what the UN spokesperson said. They informed Israel 17 times about this location, that this is a location that has 3,000 civilians. Don't bombard it. And Israel says, we will not bombard it. Then they do. And the UN doesn't do anything about it. Then what comes next is bombarding the UN headquarters in New York. Yes.
It is said that many Arab leaders are secretly happy that Israel is decimating Hamas. What do you think of that?
There might be some tensions between some Palestinian factions like Hamas and Egypt, but Hamas was only formed 20 years ago, and Israel was still doing exactly what it's doing today without Hamas. And leave Hamas aside, look at the West Bank here. We are in control, the PLO, Fatah, the secular movement, President Mahmoud Abbas, and you know how much this man and our movement have been offering Israel a political initiative after another, how much we have been wanting to establish a path of peace. In the West Bank we have no tunnels, in the West Bank we have no rockets, yet Israel kills our children and our people on a daily basis in the West Bank. Every day we have an incident of murder, of targeting civilians, and yet Israel is also killing us in our identity by stealing the land by the daily basis in the West Bank. So all what I'm trying to tell you that the Israeli propaganda machine, the Israeli spin and utter lies is trying to portray the conflict as if it's between Israel and some Arab allies against terrorism. Our children are terrorists. Our mothers are terrorists. Our call and fight for life is terrorism. Our call and fight for freedom is terrorism. Our quest for international resolutions and the implementation of international legitimacy is terrorism. This is what we have. It's a spin.